Peace and blessings, kings and queens, and welcome back to my channel. I want to thank you first for clicking on the video because you didn't have to, but I am so glad that you did. This video is about all the things I wish I would have known before I moved to Florida. And I'm not saying that if I would have known these things before I moved to Florida that I wouldn't have come, but it just would have been a nice not to be so surprised by some of the stuff. It definitely was not in the brochures, some of the stuff that I'm going to tell you. And this is all in fun, guys. This isn't me bashing Florida or anything like that, because I love Florida. And if it was that bad, I would have packed up my stuff and left a long time ago. So with that being said, let's move on. Number one, the rainy season. And the rainy season is from May to around October. And it rains every single day. And I was told by my coworkers that this was like this past rainy season was a little different, because it usually rains between like 3 and 5 o'clock. They said every day you could set your watch by it. But this past rainy season was like every day, any time of the day, whenever it felt like raining, it would just rain. And Florida has some of the craziest rain that I've ever seen. Like, you'll be in your car or walking or wherever, and it's pouring down raining where you are, in the area where you are. And you can look right across the street and the sun is out and the roads are dry. It's like the craziest phenomenon. And it's so weird to me. I mean, I know people who live in Florida, you know, they're used to it. But me, I was just like, I can't believe, like, I'm in the rain going this way, but if you look right across the street at the other intersection, nothing. So I just found that fascinating. So number two, the thunder and the lightning. I definitely, if I was to leave Florida for any reason, it would definitely be because of the thunder and lightning. Like, if I was to become like a snowbird and I could afford to have a place back home and still come here during the winter months back north, the thunder and the lightning would be the reason for me to leave. When I tell you that it sounds like Thor himself is knocking on your door with his hammer, I am not exaggerating. This thunder down here is like a big boom, like God is speaking to you on a megaphone. And the lightning lights up the whole sky. It's like so close that if you reached out, you could touch it. I mean, it scared the shit out of me. Now, some people say that I'll get used to it. I don't know. I don't like loud noises. And that thunder is some of the loudest noise I have ever heard. So, I'm not a fan. Number three. Okay, they got these things called love bugs down here. But when I first witnessed the love bugs, I was like, what is this? What is this flying around? I mean, they're everywhere. And they're two bugs. They're like black and like a reddish color. And they get stuck together. And they move together and fly around together. You know, doing their little business. You know, making bug whoopee. And they hit you in the face. I mean, I guess that's why they call them love bugs, because they're connected and they're probably pretty much oblivious to what's going on around them. I found that that was something kind of comical, like love bug season. So number four is lizards. My God, when I tell you I was not expecting lizards, they're everywhere. These little small, like little gecko lizards. Funny story. So it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed. And my cat, you know, is on alert. His little neck is up. And he's just like, eh. And he's like really focused on something. So I'm like, what is he, you know, what does he see? Like a bug or something? So a goddamn lizard has gotten into my house, right? And I know they're like, it's just a little lizard. They don't bother you. But I just don't like creepy crawly lizards, snakes, anything like that. I lose my top. So at this point, I see the lizard. I'm like, oh my God. Like, jumping on my bed and just, you know, curled up. My cat jumps off the bed, attacks the lizard, you know, running around chasing him. He must have bit the tail off. So now my cat has come out from wherever he got the tail from, the bed or whatever. And the damn thing is still moving. Like, if it wasn't tail, like by itself, the tail is creepy. The lizard being in my house is creepy. But when it breaks off, the damn thing is still moving around. And I can't take it. I can't take it. My skin is crawling and my cat is just looking at it, meowing. And I'm just like, look, like, you got to find this lizard, you know. Earn your little cat food, your little friskies, your little fancy feet. This is what you're here for. Earn your keep. Find the lizard, kill the lizard, and get rid of it. A couple of months ago, the same thing. A lizard must have got into my house, and he killed it. He's sitting there playing with it, and he brings it to me, because you know how animals are, like, you know, if they love you and you're their owner, or they're human, because they don't consider themselves being owned. They own you. And, you know, he brought it to my feet. Of course, I'm freaking out. I'm taking a broom. I opened up my doors and I'm screaming as I'm sweeping the damn thing out. So my fear is, of this new situation, is he's going to find the lizard, which I wanted him to, and, you know, do whatever. But now I'm afraid that if I go to sleep, I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night with this damn lizard by my head. And I'm just like, you know what? Come on, Florida. Y'all got to do better than this. I'm like, I can't take it. So, needless to say, I got no sleep that night. Like, I was up. Every time he moved, I moved. Just like the Ludacris song, when you move, I move. Just like that. Because I was like, I can't go to sleep. I know the thing is in here. There's a lizard running around with no tail in my house, and I'm creeped out. So, yeah. Lizards. Lizards are rampant and in abundance in Florida. Number 5. Mosquitoes. You have your regular mosquitoes back home up north, and you know they bite you. They're a menace, you know, whatever. Sometimes you can barely feel them when they land on your skin. You just know that they've been there because now you're itching. You know, they suck your blood, the little vampires that they are. But the mosquitoes in Florida are a little different. These things are huge, and when they fall on your skin or run into you, you feel it. It's like a little pebble. And them damn bites hurt. The mosquitoes here ain't no joke. They running things. And if you don't have a net or a screen door or something like that, they gonna get you. And I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of mosquitoes back home, and I'm not a fan of mosquitoes here, and I'm especially not a fan of these gigantic mutant ninja mosquitoes that run into you like you've been hit by a linebacker. Number 6, they have in season and out of season. And again, I wasn't aware of this. I've never lived in a place where you have in season where things are booming and you got shops and restaurants and business is good. And this is when the snowbirds come down during this time. And this is like from October time to like maybe May time, right when the rainy season starts, because the summers here are hot. So this was the first time that I've been through something like this. But on another note of that is businesses are booming during the season. The beaches are open, and you know the beaches are open, and it's an exciting time. But in the off season, like I said, around May, everything shuts down. It's like almost a ghost town down here, and a lot of people thrive off of the in season because that's when a lot of tourists come down, spring break and things like that. But in the off season, businesses close, believe it or not, for the off season. So I'm hoping that they make enough money, or they try to make enough money to, you know, support them during the off season, and that's from like May time till October, during the whole, you know, rainy season time in the summer times here. Number 7 is public transportation. Now, I'm a city girl. I'm from Washington, D.C. area, and you have Metro running every 10-15 minutes, almost 24 hours a day. Most Metro, like buses and subways, close around midnight, or like, you know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, with only like a 2-hour down period time. But here, it's a no. Like, they start running like at maybe 5:30 in the morning, which is a good time, till about 8 o'clock at night, maybe 9 o'clock depending on the route. And after that, it shuts down. But also, they run like every 30 to 40 minutes, or some buses don't come for like, they only come once an hour. I take Uber and Lyft a lot to avoid this, but sometimes, you know, when money is low, I gotta rely on good old bus transportation, and their bus passes down here for the month is like $40, and that's unlimited, so that's really good to have as a backup. But if I can avoid it, I do. Number 8, the houses here don't have basements, and I get it because we're below sea level, and it rains a lot, like especially the rainy season. You don't want to risk you having a basement and it flooding. So that's interesting. I've always wanted to have a house with a basement. I do plan on being in Florida for the long haul, and eventually like get some land and build me a little home on it. But I always wanted to have like a fallout shelter or a basement, because you just never know what's going to happen in this world that we live in. Am I a little bit of a conspiracy theorist? Yes, I am. But I have to figure out another way to have that type of protection and shelter if I ever need it. But yeah, none of the houses, they're not allowed to build basements. I mean, and if you do build a basement, you're building it at your own risk, because if it rains or floods or get a hurricane or something like that, your basement is going to flood, and that's just going to be wasted money. Florida is an at-will state, and I've never heard of that again until I came to Florida. So I'm going to read this to make sure that I get this right. Florida is an at-will state, which means an employer may fire, demote, hire, promote, and discipline employees for pretty much any reason or no reason at all. Say you have a boss that just does not like you, and they can fire you. Or if they want to hire somebody else or promote somebody else in your position, they can do that. And there's really nothing that you can do. Is it unfair? Yes. But, you know, that's something that you're going to have to take up with your legislator and, you know, try to get the laws changed. I'm so thankful that I have a supervisor, and I work for a company that's a really, really good company. They really care about their employees. And I'm doing something good. You know, I'm just not, you know, not idle time or just selling some BS. I'm really helping people. So I'm thankful that I have this job. That's discerning, you know. So I hope, you know, people are trying to look to change that, because it is a little unfair, especially if you have a person that's in a supervisor position and they abuse it. So number 10 is about the infamous hurricanes. And hurricane season is from August to October. And one of the things a lot of people say when you live in Florida or you're thinking about moving to Florida is, what about the hurricanes? And living, you know, I'm comparing, living back in Maryland, we have no severe weather. We got 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. It rains any time of the year. Is not like, you know, a rainy season or anything like that. We definitely don't have hurricane season or tornadoes or anything like that. So I'm pretty spoiled when it comes to weather, even though it's not sunshining back home like it is here. But it's you got it pretty good. It don't even get that cold. I mean, you have some cold days, but it doesn't even get that cold back home in Maryland. And this past like September, October, there was the whole thing about Hurricane Dorian, and everybody was talking about Hurricane Irma, and I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I was worried that, you know, what's gonna happen to my little trailer. And but where I live at, they do have the appropriate I guess equipment or tools that has all the trailers like tied down, you know, properly and secure. You have to, because hurricanes, you be like the Wizard of Oz. Your house be spinning, and you crash land, and you never know where you're gonna end up. On to number 11, and I kind of touched on this back in with the in-season, out-season type thing, and the snowbirds. And but yeah, you have people who come down during the in-season months, and you know, they stay until like May, and they go back home, because the summers here are hot and they're humid and you can barely breathe. The breathing index is really, really high. So I stay in the house. So I'm in AC, so it doesn't really bother me. But it does get hot. And a person who's retired and they want to get out and see some things, I can see how that can be a little difficult for someone trying to enjoy the weather when it's so hot. So a lot of people go back home during the summer months back north, and then they come back down here during the winter months back north. So number 12 is taxes, and I'm going to try to read this to make sure I'm not missing anything, and I know I won't touch on everything, but Florida is one of the handful of states which has no state income taxes. The only thing you pay is federal taxes, and that is wonderful, because back home you paying the state tax, you paying the federal tax, and God knows whatever type of taxes that you are paying. So that's a really good thing. I don't really have too much to say on that, but just know that Florida doesn't pay state tax. Number 13. I never really even thought about it, but it gets cold here in Florida, guys. Like, I thought it was just gonna be 80 on up degrees here all year round, but no. My first experience with cold, because I came down here, like I mentioned in one of my other videos, I came down here with the clothes on my back and one suitcase, and I didn't bring any winter clothes with me. And not to say that you need a whole wool coat or a parka or a hood and hat and scarf and all that other stuff, but you do need like a coat during that cold 1 or 2 weeks that they have down here. And like today, it's actually cold. It's like 48 degrees, and the cold front came in yesterday. But yeah, it gets down to about 40 degrees here. And I've heard some people say it even gotten down to 30, but that's very, very rare. But yeah, 1 or 2 days it's like 40-ish type degrees, and you need a coat. And the Floridians down here are so cute. When it even gets to like 50 to 60, they pull out their little Ugg boots, their little boots, their hats and their scarves. Sometimes they even got on gloves, and I'm sitting out there in a jacket looking at them like, oh gosh, you guys are so cute. But yeah, that 40-degree weather is cold. That's a reminder of me, you know, a reminiscent of back home for me. So I had to go out and actually get a coat, which, like I said, I just never thought that you needed one down here in Florida. I just thought it was hot all the time. So that was 13 things that I wish I knew about Florida before I moved here. Like I said, it's all in fun and, you know, jokes and everything like that. But all in all, I love it here in Florida. I plan on keeping my roots here for many, many years. Keep tuning in. I really appreciate it. For those who are subscribe to me and who do click on the video, I really appreciate it, because and I always say this, you don't have to. You can see my the name of my video, you can see my face, and you can just keep it moving. But for those who actually do watch my videos, I so appreciate it, and I have some great things coming to this channel, and I hope you stay tuned for that. So be blessed.